My child, I want you to stop scrolling right now and listen closely, because what I am about to tell you is not by accident. You did not open this by chance. Something in you knew you needed to hear this today, and that knowing did not come from nowhere. It came from me. I have been waiting for this exact moment to speak to you clearly, and I am asking you to give me your full attention for the next few minutes, because your life is about to make sense in a way it has not made sense in a long time. You have been carrying a silence. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy kind, the kind that comes from asking and hearing nothing move in response. You have wondered if I heard you at all. You have wondered if the delay meant no. I am telling you plainly, it did not. The waiting you have been living inside was never my silence. It was my timing, and the two have never once been the same thing. Before we go further, if these words are landing somewhere real in you, go ahead and like this video. Not because I need it, because it helps this message reach someone else who is sitting exactly where you are sitting right now, waiting for someone to tell them what I am about to tell you. Think about what you have asked me for. A door to open. A body to heal. A relationship to be restored. A future that looked, at some point, brighter than the one you are currently standing in. You asked, and the sky did not answer the way you hoped, and somewhere in the waiting, you began building a quiet theory about why. That you asked wrong. That you asked too late. That the answer went to someone standing closer to the front of the line than you. Sit with that for a moment. Do not rush past it. There is a particular exhaustion that comes from asking and hearing nothing back, and the world will tell you to explain it away quickly, to find the lesson and move on before the ache gets uncomfortable. I will not rush you like that. The waiting has been long. That is true. And it has cost you something. I am not asking you to call the cost small. I have watched you check the same door twice in 1 week, hoping it moved when you weren't looking. I have watched you rehearse the conversation you would have if the answer finally came, running the words in your head at night when the house is quiet and no one else knows you are still awake. I have seen you stop mentioning it out loud because saying it again and hearing nothing change felt heavier than carrying it silently. None of that escaped me. I was not distracted the day you decided to stop asking anyone but me. But listen, because this is where the truth turns. Unanswered is not the same as unheard. A door that has not opened yet is not a door that was never meant to open. You have been reading my quiet as my verdict, and it was never that. It was never a no. It has been, this whole time, an appointed time you cannot yet see the shape of. There is a line I wrote long before you were born, for people standing exactly where you are standing now. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision awaits its appointed time, it hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it, it will surely come, it will not delay. Hold that phrase. It was not written for the patient. It was written for the tired. Read the shape of it slowly. It does not say the vision is cancelled. It says it is waiting for its hour. It does not say you were wrong to hope. It says the hope will not lie to you. And then it says the part you need most, if it seems slow. Seems. Not is. What you have been calling absence was never absence. It was distance you could not measure from where you were standing, and distance is not the same as gone. Let your shoulders drop an inch right now. Not because the waiting is over. Because you can stop bracing against a clock that was never yours to run. You have believed a picture of me that made this harder than it had to be. The picture where good things arrive the moment they're deserved, and delay is proof you weren't deserving enough. That picture was handed to you by people who meant well and still got it wrong, or by a season of disappointment that taught you to read every quiet month as rejection. I am asking you to set that picture down. I have never once measured you by the speed of my response. Think about how I actually build things that last. Nothing I make arrives finished on the first day. I take the longest with the things I love the most, not because I am slow, but because rushed things do not hold. A house built in a week falls in the first real storm. A promise built over years holds through every storm after. You have been asking me for a house. I have been building you a foundation, and foundations do their work exactly where you cannot see them, in the dark, underground, unapplauded. If this is speaking to you, drop a comment below, just one word, whatever you're believing me for right now. I read every one, and I want you to say it out loud to yourself as much as to me. You were never assigned the how or the when. You were only ever asked to keep showing up at the door without knowing the hour it opens. That is not weakness. That is the whole shape of what I have called faith from the beginning. Not certainty about the timeline. Trust without one. Consider the ones who came before you and waited longer than you have waited so far. A man who was promised a nation and did not see a single city of it in his own lifetime. A woman who was told she would carry a child and grew old wondering if the promise had quietly expired. A whole people who were told they would leave a foreign land and did not see the road out for 400 years. None of them were told a date. All of them were told a certainty. The date and the certainty were never the same gift, and I only ever promised you one of them. I want to take apart the version of me you have been carrying, because it has made this season heavier than it had to be. The version of me you inherited would have you believe that love always looks like speed, that if I were truly for you, the answer would already be in your hands, wrapped and finished. And because it is not, some quiet part of you has started keeping a ledger. Reading my silence as a subtraction. Wondering what you did, or failed to do, to end up waiting this long while others, from where you sit, seem to receive so easily. I want to be gentle here, because that picture was not built by you alone. It was handed down, by teaching that only ever showed you a sudden, thunderclap kind of goodness and never a patient one. By grief that learned, after enough disappointment, to expect the worst explanation first. I am not asking you to be angry at the people who gave you that picture. Many of them were only repeating what was repeated to them. I am asking you to lay it down, because it was never an honest picture of me. Here is what that false picture cost you, so you can see it plainly. It taught you to treat every quiet week as evidence. It taught you to perform your faith instead of live inside it, to pray a little louder when you were afraid I wasn't listening, as if volume ever moved my hand. It taught you to measure your worth by the speed of your answer, and so you have spent seasons quietly convinced you were somewhere near the back of a very long line. None of that was ever true. I do not run a line. I run a garden, and gardens do not ripen by the order people got in. Here is what I have not told you yet, and I want you to hear it slowly. The waiting was never empty time. While you have been standing at that door, counting the silence, I have been doing work in you that could only be done in exactly this kind of stillness. Character does not form in a moment of arrival. It forms in the long corridor before it. The patience you did not have 2 years ago and now carry without noticing, that came from here. The way you no longer panic at every closed door the way you once did, that came from here too. You have been changing shape in this waiting room, and you did not clock it happening because change like that never announces itself. It simply, one day, is true of you. If I had given you the answer the day you first asked for it, you would have received it with the hands you had then, hands that were not yet steady enough to hold it well, a heart not yet wide enough to carry what came with it. I was not withholding the gift. I was preparing the one who would receive it, because a gift handed to unready hands is very often dropped, and I did not want to watch you drop the very thing you prayed the longest for. Think, too, about what the waiting has shown you about who stayed. The ones who only wanted to be near you when the story looked good, you have learned who they were. And the ones who sat with you in the plain, unglamorous middle of it, who called on the ordinary Tuesday for no reason except that they remembered you were still waiting, you have learned who they were too. That knowledge was worth something. It did not come free, and I did not make you pay for it lightly, but it came, and you will carry it long after the waiting itself is a story you tell without wincing. Let your breath slow down for a moment before we go further. Notice where you have been holding tension without deciding to, the jaw, the space between the shoulders, the grip in the hands. Much of that has been unconscious armor, built for a fight you were never actually meant to carry alone. Let it go, one small place at a time. Not because the situation has changed. Because you were never meant to brace against my timing as if it were your enemy. I know what the nights have been like, the ones where you rehearsed the worst version of the outcome so many times it began to feel more real than any of the ones where it turns out well. I know the mornings you woke up already tired, the weight arriving before you had even opened your eyes. I was in every one of those mornings with you. Not distant. Not watching from somewhere far off and waiting to see how you'd manage. Close. As close as breath. Hear the last part of the verse again, because it is the part built to carry you the farthest. It will surely come. It will not delay. Not it might. Not if you manage to hold on well enough. Surely. The word was chosen on purpose, for exactly the night you are having right now, the one where surely feels very far from what you can feel in your chest. I am not asking you to feel certain. I am asking you to act certain in the small ways available to you today, to keep the door in view, to keep the ordinary practices of hope, to keep saying the thing out loud to me even when it has worn down to almost nothing. Faith was never the absence of doubt. It was the decision to keep showing up while the doubt was in the room with you. The appointed time is not a vague, someday kind of phrase. It is a specific hour, already fixed, already moving toward you, whether you can trace its approach or not. You do not have to calculate it. You do not have to earn it faster by straining harder. You only have to still be standing at the door, in whatever condition you're in, on the day it opens. Tired is fine, doubting is fine, worn thin is fine. All of that is still standing. And on the day it finally opens, you will understand why it took exactly this long, and not a day less. You will look back at this very stretch, the one you are standing in right now, the one that feels like it has gone on far past what you could explain to anyone, and you will see it was never wasted. Every quiet month was doing something. Every unanswered week was still moving, underneath, toward the hour that was always coming. Until that day, keep the door in sight. Keep the small, ordinary faithfulness, the prayer that has shrunk to almost nothing is still a prayer. The hope that has gone quiet is still hope. I have not forgotten the sound of your voice, even on the nights it was only a sigh with no words left in it. I heard the sigh the same way I would have heard the words. It will not delay. It is coming, at the only hour that was ever going to be the right one. Stand a little longer. I am closer than the silence has let you believe. Before you go, if this word met you where you are, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. You may be the door I use to reach them. And subscribe to stay near this voice, because I am not done speaking to you yet.